I finally decided to challenge my adoptive father Ryukin and my brother Rao, and with all the powers of Akuma along with all the Street Fighter video game characters, I knew that no one could defeat me. Even in my base form I wouldn't even need to use my maximum powers or my Doomslayer armor, the Predator. As a matter of fact, I made sure to leave home without my Doomslayer armor so that the fight between me and my adoptive family would be fair. During the fight against my adoptive family, using all the powers of Akuma, I easily defeated and injured all my other siblings, and I even decided to kill Rao because he's a monster. I destroyed him with Akuma's special technique, the 1000 Punch Strike, and it wrecked his entire body, leaving him beaten so severely that he will die soon from his wounds and his injuries. He saved his last words for me and our father, and his last words to me were, "I knew you could master it. I knew you had mastered Hakuto Shinken years ago, and now you have all my powers and techniques. Goodbye, little brother, and live well." And I walked away, and then I vanished before I heard what Rao said to our father. After everything that happened with the Guardians of the Galaxy, me and Peter Quill decided to return home because I had unfinished business. I had to kill my brother Rao and defeat my adoptive family in unarmed combat, and I also knew that Thanos would arrive very soon to confront, because I went and got all the Infinity Stones, and with all my extraordinary powers that was easy, and I did all that to lure Thanos into trap, and he will try anything to counter me and my powers, but nothing will work, and I know it because I can see the future even without the Time Stone. And right after I defeated my adoptive family and clan, I leveled up again to Infinity level 6, so I opened my Infinity Gamer System screen again, and it said, "Congratulations, you have leveled up to Infinity level 6, and you now have all the powers of Dr. Manhattan and Molecule Man." And then all those incredible powers entered my body as I now became a truly powerful god. But unlike Dr. Manhattan, I could retain my human form. In other words, I could remain human permanently as long as I wanted to, and it was in the moment that I realized what's stopping me. Absolutely nothing. Using my extraordinary powers, I gave life to every dead planet, and I made every dead planet like Earth. And for someone like me with my extraordinary powers, it was easy because I had become something beyond every multiverse and universe. I even took away all of Ego's powers and I gave all them to Peter Quill without any of the negative drawbacks. Peter Quill now has his father's powers, and I even gave Peter Quill his father, and I demanded that Ego tell his son Peter the truth about everything. But Peter Quill didn't kill his father since he's only human. He stuck him in his spaceship jail cell, and while we were all on Earth, Gamora and Peter Quill had kids together and they got married, and Mantis and Drax had fun exploring Earth, and I kept a close eye on them both, and it was very funny watching them get into trouble, and I often had to help them stay out of trouble with the police officers since they never lived on Earth. They don't know our laws, so I made sure that Mantis and Drax stayed out of trouble with the law, and I eventually created a new race of people I called the human androids, and I designed them to be somewhat similar to Dr. Gero's androids since have all the powers and skills of all the Dragonball characters. That means that I also have the vast intelligence of Dr. Gero and Dr. Brief along with Bulma Brief, meaning that my intelligence is pretty much god-level intelligence. So of course I created human androids, and they are all man-made, and they can even have sex and procreate like humans. I decided to make Saturn their home, and I even built them all a beautiful and futuristic utopian city, and they all flourished, and I programmed all my androids on Saturn to be good people. I programmed them all to be heroes, to be compassionate, and I did this so that they could all help save humanity. When the time came after I had gathered all the Infinity Stones, Aisha of the Sovereign came looking for me, and she wanted my help. So I helped her retrieve her batteries. Like in the second Guardians of the Galaxy movie, we had to fight alien monsters to get them back, and I easily killed the alien monsters. And when I returned Aisha her property, all her soldiers surrounded us, and she said, "Ready, soldiers," and all her soldiers and guards pointed their weapons at me. And then I said, "What is the meaning of this? What do you want? We have done nothing wrong to your people." And then Aisha said, "Yes, you are right, you have done nothing wrong, but that's not why I'm doing this." And then I asked Aisha, "What do you want?" And then she said, "Isn't it obvious? I want you." And I said, "Please explain." And then Aisha said, "I've never made love to anyone, but I want to have sex with you and marry you."